Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining for today's seminar. If you've been here during the previous seminars, you may notice that there's a different lecturer today. There's actually two of us. My name is Surya, and I am the curator assistant at Victory Art. And today I'll be hosting this seminar with my colleague who will also introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. I'm Juliet. I work in the marketing department at Victory Art, and I will also give you this seminar about portfolios today.
Before we begin, we would like to remind you to please be mindful of others when you speak. We also kindly ask you to keep your microphone off till the Q&A session, be respectful to one another, and of course, have a good time. Today, we will be teaching you guys how to build a kickass portfolio. As I mentioned previously, I am the curator assistant, so I handle everything regarding the artists. I handle the communication with them, I go over the artworks, I make sure everything is in place, and that also includes looking through portfolios. In my time that I worked looking through artist portfolios, I noticed that sometimes artists lack to make a proper portfolio that allows us to see what they're actually capable of. So that's why we decided to teach you guys today and give some tips on how to make your portfolio stand out and what the essential elements are that you need to include. So today we will discuss how to make a professional portfolio and how to make the professional portfolio stand out. A portfolio is based on your experience and background. So building a portfolio can really present who you are as an artist and showcase what you can do. A good portfolio can also help others get to know you more. For galleries, the portfolio helps you make an evaluation of your artwork based on your background and experience. So when they go to your portfolio, they get to know who you are as an artist and basically what you stand for. So that's why it's very important to showcase your work, whether it's for galleries or potential customers. For art buyers, your portfolio basically means that they have to refresh their minds about you. You have to leave a long-lasting impression with your portfolio and make sure that you wow them from the moment that they open it till they close your portfolio. Make sure that you grab their attention. Building a portfolio is actually not that hard. There are only a few must things that you need to do to turn your portfolio into a really good one. Having a powerful portfolio not only shows who you are as an artist, but it helps you get noticed and get the exposure that you need to move your art career forward. As an artist, you guys all know that you have to properly market yourself. It's not easy to come by customers or get offers from galleries. You have to put yourself out there and make sure that people know who you are. Building a portfolio is part of this. You will have to market yourself as an artist and showcase what you have in order to attract the right people for you. So the quality and the effectiveness of your portfolio can make a huge difference in whether you succeed or if you fail. So portfolio has to represent your work, but also what kind of artist you are. If you use a cheap portfolio with paper that easily rips apart, or pictures that are of low quality or that aren't cut properly, if you use bad lighting for your pictures or you can't see the picture properly of your artwork, then it doesn't matter how good of an artist you are. People will just close your portfolio and forget you, basically. So that's why you have to make sure that you stand out. A portfolio is helpful for when you're trying to secure a spot in art school, when you're seeking an art-related job, when you're trying to get a show at a gallery, or if you're seeking gallery representation, which is why you need to make sure that you have a really good one. A portfolio is the best opportunity, and sometimes it's your only chance to make a lasting impression on gallery owners and potential investors. That's why when I said when you have a portfolio, you need to make sure you use high-quality paper, high-quality pictures, and make sure that it shows what you stand for and how much of a dedicated artist you are. It needs to portray the utmost professionalism while also being accessible and presenting all the relevant information in a convenient way. So don't make your portfolio too complicated. A simple book where people can see who you are, can flip through your work, and can easily read your work and see all the artwork that you created. Everything is clear in detail, and everybody can see how serious you are, no matter what target group you are reaching. There's three primary focuses of a portfolio. There's format, content, and convenience. Due to the technological development, the format has changed quite drastically in the last 10 years. Artists now have the opportunity to showcase their works, not only for selling, but also as a portfolio. So when you're posting on either Instagram or online platforms, it's not just to sell, but also just to make a name for yourself as an artist. You get to get more exposure and basically put your work out there. Artists have the option to choose between a physical and a digital portfolio nowadays, which is great because they have both have benefits. A physical portfolio gives your viewers the chance to really experience your art, and digital portfolios are more convenient to carry around. So you can think of a compact disc, a pen drive, or a hard disk. You can also think of a personal website or online platforms such as Behance or DeviantArt. These are all great ways to show your work. The most crucial aspect of your work, no matter what is your work, no matter what format you choose. So it doesn't matter if you go digital or if you have a hard copy of your portfolio. The most important thing is the artwork that you present. So when you're creating a professional portfolio, please make sure that the artwork photographs are of the highest quality possible. So like I mentioned before, make sure that your pictures are high quality, that you didn't cut them, and that everybody can properly see them. And that it's also on high quality paper if you choose for a physical portfolio. Regardless of your format, the photos must be in pristine condition to reflect the essence of your work. So like I said, a high quality portfolio shows a dedicated artist. So if you choose a professional binder, which is a more traditional format, please make sure to keep all your portfolio content tight. So make sure your paper isn't ripped, make sure the pictures are not faded and that they're still clearly visible and that everything is nicely organized. That makes it easy for gallery representatives to go through your content and keep everything well organized. So make sure that none of your materials get lost. If you choose for digital format, you'll have to make sure that the images are burned on your disk or uploaded online and that they're in a universal format. So make sure you choose something like JPEG that can open on any device. Please make sure to also regularly run test run your storage devices to make sure that your photographs are opening up so that none of the files are cryptic, because that also shows unprofessionalism. If you send your photos to a gallery, they open it and they see it's a cryptic file. So make sure you regularly check them to be on top of your things. If you choose to have an online portfolio, you need to make sure that it's professionally done. If you choose to make your own website, you need to avoid any glitches or unwanted advertisements. Because if you have glitches, it'll make you seem like a sketchy website and people will click away, basically. And unwanted advertisement can actually draw away attention from the thing you want people to notice, which is your art. So make sure to avoid any distractions, which can be off-putting to viewers. Next, we'll have content. So you can't just add pictures, you also have to add plenty of information about yourself and your creative process. So what should you include? You should include a cover letter, an artistic statement, an artist's biography, and an artist's resume or CV. For the cover letter, it's basically to introduce both you and your artwork to the gallery representative or customer. It has to be written in such a way that it captures their attention. So this is kind of the first thing that they see when they open your portfolio. You have to make sure that it stands out and reaches and catches their attention. And it doesn't even need to be long. It has to serve as a strong introduction of who you are, what you do, and why you are contacting the gallery or customer. And we also advise you to always personalize these letters to address each individual you reach out to. So don't just be like, dear whoever it may concern. Please just look at the people, look up their names, who you need to contact, and personalize it. It will have a bigger impact. Next, we have the artist statement. The trend nowadays is to write the artist statement in the first person. You have to keep it more personal and actually explain the meaning behind your work. You'll also explain your artistic process and why it is that you create your art. Like they explain why it is that you do it and what it represents. Keep your statement concise. It doesn't have to be an essay. It's 500 words or less. As you already captured their attention through your cover letter, you now want to maintain it. Next, we have the artist biography. The artist biography should be more formal than the artist statement. It's written in the third person, and you'll have to address your artist background in a succinct way, which means that you'll include where you went to school, any formal exhibitions, and other pertinent details. Next, we have the artist resume or CV. That's a similar style as your traditional CV, but it will focus primarily on your artistic accomplishments. And those artistic accomplishments include your awards, publications, major exhibits, which can be both the individual or the group exhibits, and any past gallery representation. So include it all in there and just show your progress that you made as an artist. Then next we have convenience. Those small gestures, such as putting people's names in the cover letter, they never go unappreciated, no matter how small the gesture is. So there are other things that you can do that will give your portfolio a personalized touch, which is including a price list and a self-addressed stamp and matching stationery. A price list is basically a page that you'll include in your portfolio, and that will list the title, the medium, the dimensions, and the price. For this page, or well, not just this page, the entire portfolio, use a font that can be clearly read. The fancy fonts might be tempting to show how classy or how professional you are, but it can be difficult to read. So for the entire portfolio, we advise you to use a clearly readable font. Next, we have a self-addressed stamp and matching stationery. The stamp and matching stationery is a nice touch to include at the back of your portfolio. It makes it easy and convenient for representatives to get back in touch with you after going through your portfolio. So now that we know the essentials of how to make a portfolio, my colleague will now tell you how to make it stand out so you get noticed by representatives. So I will hand over the word to Juliet now.
Thank you, Surya. So now that we know which parts needs to be included, what is important, what is maybe less important, now it's important to know how to make it stand out. So mostly now with the digital world being like we know it, it's very easy to showcase your art. It's very easy to be out there, but at the same time, it's harder to stand out. So your portfolio, if it just includes the part that we said, maybe just one out of many. So for it to stand out and to have the effect of it being impressive and professional, here are a few tips. So the first one would be to only choose your best artworks to showcase. So this is important because sometimes based on who you're going to send it to, an institution or a gallery, it's important to only choose specifically targeted pieces for that specific institution or gallery. Choose ones that demonstrate the quality of your work, what you're capable of doing, your mastery of any type of technical elements that there may be, and choose only the pieces that will really show your maximum of your artwork and your entire creative vision as well. It's also important for it to have the maximum impact to really only focus on what is relevant. So sometimes only a few of your artworks will really be enough, and to not fall into the trap of putting everything. And sometimes they just maybe you will maybe lose the interest of the person just because there's too much or it's not relevant for that person, let's say. So place your best artworks first and last to maximize visibility. So they will start with the wow effect and they will close your portfolio with a second wow effect. So the first impression is great and the last impression is great. So the overall expression will be more than great. And for the organization part of it, it's important to group your artworks according to a subject and content that you may have. So it can be different collections, but it's important to categorize them conveniently for it to be easy to walk through. So if we continue with our tips, we have also the images. So Surya also mentioned that having high quality pictures is more than essential. And here we really want to emphasize on it. So avoid any type of fuzzy images or bad lighting or weirdly cropped images or out of focus. And because the outcome of that is that it will make you appear unprofessional, which is really not what we want to achieve, as well as your art to look bad or to not grasp the entirety of your art, to not really fully see and almost sense your art. So if you're not a photographer, if photography is not your art, then we really strongly advise to invest in paying in a professional photographer to shoot these images for you. It will truly give your portfolio a higher quality and a better result in general. So our third tip would be also to find and determine the proper presentation formats for your art. So depending on the medium or media that you work with, of course, you will not display them in the same way. So our advice would be for two-dimensional and not too large pieces, you can include original samples or color prints in your portfolio. But if you have larger artworks or three-dimension artworks, we recommend to go with slides or display transparencies in your portfolio. So our next way to stand out is to organize it. So this is more related to the professionalism of it, to really be seen as someone that is really passionate and dedicated to that as a profession. So all your work needs to be presented cleanly and simply. It needs to be easy to follow for the reviewer and easy to find the information that the person may need. And every piece that you show needs to be labeled with different kind of information. So in here, we mentioned the title, the media, any important notes that could be interesting to know to understand more your art piece, the name and the contact information. In your portfolio, it's always better to place your written documents strategically so it can be easily found. Because if it's easily found, then you have higher chances for the person to read through that document and to use it properly. So to contact you or to promote your work, for example. So our next one would be, as we mentioned, you will give your portfolio to many different audiences. So you need, while creating it, you also need to take in consideration the fact that it needs to be presented in a way that every person and for every reason could really understand what is going through your portfolio and find what they need. So make sure all the components are in place, they're clear to read. For example, let's take an art gallery, a gallery dealer will be interested in visuals, pricing, and your resume. But if we take, for example, an art writers, they will be more interested in your accomplishments that could be in articles that for them to write about it. Collectors will want to know if there's anything to buy, as simply as that. But also make sure that everything you include is personal and markets you as an artist as well. So the next one is to pay attention to specific requirements. So we mentioned some type of tips that we give you for the different CVs and resume, but it's important to also know that every institution, every gallery, every school, for example, has different requirements. So please comply with those requirements because sometimes you will maybe lose that opportunity just because it's not the right size, the right format whatsoever. So make sure to submit it within their specific parameters to make sure that they will read through it, that they will see it, and that you will have the chance to show your beautiful artworks. So as we mentioned several times now, it needs to be accessible and easy to read. But it also needs to be unique. It needs to be professional because it's your career, it's your art, but it also needs to represent you as an artist. So finding that balance between professionalism and creativity can be a bit challenging, but this is why we advise, for example, to not use distracting colors or patterns behind your portfolio pieces. Backgrounds need to enhance your work and not distract the attention from your artwork. Any type of formats that you may use need to be easy to read, easily digestible. So no crazy colors, no crazy fonts, easily to read through, easily to find the information that is needed. So keep your creativity for the artworks and for your art and your career. But for portfolios, keep it simple and sometimes less is more. So really focus on that. As an artist, you want to be seen by anyone that is interested in you. So in order to make that, it's important to prepare a dual portfolio. Having a hard copy is important of your portfolio in any way, but nowadays you can also create an additional one. It's preferably a portfolio that is maybe easier to find, or for that you can use a website, for example. While doing so, there are some things to keep in mind. So images should be a JPEG format. We already mentioned that it's the most universal format for everyone to be able to open it. And also for that purpose, it should be compatible with Mac and PC as well. The images should be around 600 pixels for them to be clear enough, but not too heavy in your portfolio. And the images should be named in a logical and consistent manner. Let's say an example could be your art title and your name as an artist or the date that it's been created, but it needs to be consistent and logical for the person to find their way through these images. And our last tip to make you stand out is to keep your portfolio updated. So your portfolio showcases your career, what you do on a day-to-day basis, what you want to achieve, what you have achieved, what you have accomplished. So anytime you have something new in your career, it's very important to update that on your portfolio. This will show first professionalism because it shows that you're very dedicated and you realize the value of all your accomplishments in your career. And it shows that you're continually producing and that you're active in the artwork that you work in. So I think we have a message. Could you please show the previous slide? So if you could go back to slide 8 about dual portfolios, we will let you a few seconds to take a picture, or take some notes about it. No problem. So if we continue to the next slide, so this was pretty much the conclusion of our seminar for today. So overall, to conclude, so a professional artist portfolio can really open doors for you. It can really make your career and really have high successes in them. And really also it's the way, a powerful portfolio is the way to get noticed, get the exposure that you need to move your career forward, to really grow as an artist, to attract the attention of galleries and collectors. And also it's your way of showing your work pretty much. So this is why it's very important to dedicate some time into this to really make it as good as it can be. So as you have seen at the beginning, we have weekly seminars for different topics. So today was about portfolios, but in the next weeks, we'll discuss these different topics. So we have about different ways of working across borders, some advices, recommendations, some histories about different careers and experiences from different artists, also how diversity can be the key of success. So we will gladly be happy for everyone to join us in the next weeks. So now we arrive at our Q&A session. So if you have any question, you can just unmute yourself or you can type them in the chat. So while doing so, I would like to thank you for participating and also hoping that it really helped you and it will help you in your future career. You can always join every week with the same link if any other subjects interest you. And you can always join us on different platforms that we have on social media. So if we go to the next slide, you can see the different platforms that we have. But before that, we have a very interesting event that is happening starting next year, is to sign up for a free consultancy session. So you can contact us via our email address, victory@victoryarteu@gmail. So I don't see any questions in the chat. So if there's nothing more...
Guys.
Oh, hi.
I want to ask a question.
Yeah, sure, go on.
So my question is specific to getting admission in an art college. For example, I'm looking for MFA. So does my portfolio need to be like very diverse in all the mediums? Like, do I need to explore all possible mediums in art, like charcoal, oil, acrylic, and all those things? Or can I be specific in some medium as well?
Well, you can actually be specific. You don't have, it's always good to explore different styles. But if you have a style that is unique to you or a style that you prefer, it's also good to stick with what you know. As long as you show that what you do, you can do well, You don't have to be overly diverse or do many different things. Just be consistent and create basically a brand for yourself so people can know, okay, this is your work. That
Okay,
answers?
thank you.
Yeah, okay. So you don't have to do all the different styles. You can do whatever you feel like doing and then just make it your own.
Thank you for the suggestion.
Welcome. You have any other questions perhaps?
No, that was it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope to see you again next week and have a wonderful night.
Thank you so much.